Okay, so we're diving into something pretty big today, something that's kind of changing the game for how people find info online.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how generative AI, stuff like Google's AI overviews and even ChatGPT are shifting things away from just like the basic search we're all used to.
Right, it's not just about those blue links anymore. It's
Yeah.
like getting these direct answers, almost like AI is doing the research for you.
Exactly. And experts are even saying that, these new strategies, some are calling it Generative Engine Optimization or GEO, could make your content like way more visible in those AI responses.
I saw some stats saying it could boost visibility by something like 40%, which is huge.
Yeah, it's a whole new way for people to find your work.
So how do these AI engines even work? Like, where are they pulling this info from to create these overviews?
So it's a process called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RG. Right. Basically, the AI pulls relevant info from a massive data set. Think of it like a super search index. And then it uses a really complex language model to put it all together into an answer that makes sense.
So it's not just copying and pasting, it's like synthesizing information.
Yeah. And the cool part is it usually cites sources too, so you can see where the info came from.
That makes sense. So that when it's choosing those sources, what's it looking for? Like, what makes some content stand out to these AIs?
Well, a few things are super important. The first one's kind of obvious. It's relevance. Your content has to be a direct match for what the user is searching. And this is where traditional SEO is still important.
So keywords are still relevant.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If the AI can't figure out what your page is about, it's not going to use it.
Makes sense.
So yeah, that foundational SEO work is still key.
Gotcha. So what else is important in this new AI world?
Content quality and credibility, that's huge.
And we all saw those early issues with some of Google's AI overviews pulling from, let's say, questionable sources.
Yeah, exactly. That whole thing really showed how important trustworthiness and expertise are. These AI systems are now putting a ton of emphasis on sources that look authoritative, accurate, and up to date.
So you can't just throw any old content out there and expect the AI to use it.
Nope, definitely not. The AI needs to be confident in the information it's sharing.
Makes sense.
And then the third thing, and structured information. AI is trying to find the exact answer it needs super quickly. So content that's well organized, clear sections, concise paragraphs, bullet points, FAQs. That's like a dream for these engines. It makes summarizing and extracting information so much easier.
Like finding something in a well-labeled filing cabinet versus digging through a junk drawer.
Exactly.
So making it easy for the AI is a big plus. What's the last key factor?
Existing search ranking and signals actually still matter a lot. You'll often see AI overviews pulling from pages that already rank well in traditional search.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess those pages have already been kind of vetted by the algorithm.
Right, and this is where GEO gets really interesting. Even if your page isn't ranking number one, if it has those AI-friendly elements we talked about, the clear structure, authoritative info, easy to summarize stuff, it still has a chance to get picked up by the AI.
So it's not just about the top spot anymore.
Exactly. It's a whole new way to get your content seen.
I like it. Now, just to be clear, for everyone listening, we're talking about optimizing the content we create as humans, right? Not trying to optimize content that's been generated by AI.
Precisely. We want to help you make your own great content shine so these AI engines can find it, understand it, and use it.
All right, so let's get practical. What are some things we can do to make our content super appealing to these AI overviews?
One of the biggest things is using clear headings and a logical hierarchy.
Okay, so like using H1, H2 tags and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Think of it as creating a roadmap for the AI so it can quickly understand what each section is about.
So if someone asks the AI about, the pros and cons of a French press,
it can just jump right to the French press pros and cons section.
I get it. It makes it easy for the AI to find what it needs.
Yep. And on the flip side, avoid burying key information in giant blocks of text. And don't group unrelated topics under one heading. Keep things focused and organized.
Makes sense, all right? What else?
Writing in focused bite-sized chunks is another big one.
So short paragraphs, keep it snappy.
Pretty much aim for 2 to 4 sentences per paragraph and keep each one focused on a single idea.
And leading with the answer, right?
Oh, that's a great technique. Yeah, start with the key takeaway and then elaborate. And don't forget about bullet points and lists. They're super easy for AI to process.
Like steps in a recipe.
Perfect example.
Got it. So modular and digestible content is key.
What else can we do?
FAQs, those are gold.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Think about it. So many searches now are phrased as questions, especially with AI assistants.
That's true.
So having those FAQ sections directly addresses that.
Where should we be getting these FAQs from?
Look at your customer support inquiries, community forums, questions in People Also Ask sections. Those are all great sources of real questions people are asking. And we can use schema markup to tell search engines it's a Q&A, right?
Exactly. FAQ schema is your friend here.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
What about when we're presenting data or comparisons?
Tables and comparison charts are your best friend there.
AI likes tables.
It's great at extracting info from them. Make sure you label them clearly, though.
So even if the AI doesn't show the whole table, it can still pull out specific data points.
Exactly.
Cool. What about product-focused content? Anything specific there?
Definitely you want to provide descriptive and tagged content. You know how Google's AI overview for shopping uses those little tags to summarize products?
Yeah.
So in your descriptions, don't just list features, highlight benefits, and use cases, and use product schema to provide all those details like price, availability, reviews, and ratings.
Speaking of reviews, I've noticed SGE sometimes pulls snippets from those.
Yeah, it does. So make sure your reviews are marked up properly and easily visible.
Okay, good to know. What about more technical content like documentation or how-to guides?
Same principles apply. Clarity and structure are key. Break down long manuals into smaller focused articles.
Keep it modular.
Exactly. For step-by-step instructions, use numbered lists and look into how-to schema.
And explain any code clearly.
For sure, a common errors and solutions FAQ section can be really helpful too.
Gotcha. We've talked a lot about schema. Why is it so important for GEO?
It's basically like giving the AI a blueprint of your content. It provides context and helps the AI understand what each piece of information represents.
So is it a review, a step in a guide, an author's credentials, all that stuff?
Exactly. And don't forget about good meta titles and descriptions for traditional search. And alt text for images could become more important as AI gets better at understanding visuals.
Okay, so schema helps with context and trust signals. What about the AI crawlers themselves? Anything specific to consider there?
Yeah, technical accessibility is important. Make sure you're not blocking AI crawlers like Googlebot or GPTbot.
Blocking them would be bad.
Yeah, if you block GPTbot, for instance, your content won't be part of ChatGPT's training data.
Ah, that makes sense.
And of course, all those standard SEO best practices still apply.
Right, like crawlability, mobile friendliness, page speed.
Exactly. If the search engine can't access your content, the AI can't either.
Makes sense. So we've covered formatting and structure now. Let's talk about the writing itself. How do we write content that shows expertise and trust to these AI engines?
This is where EEAT comes in.
Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness.
You got it. AI is really tuned to look for content that demonstrates those qualities.
So how do we show that in our writing?
Showcase your expertise. If you have a qualified author, make sure their credentials and experience are front and center.
Like a doctor writing a medical article.
Exactly. And build topical authority, create in-depth content that covers all aspects of your subject.
So become the go-to source.
Right. And build trustworthiness signals. Keep your content updated, fact-check everything, cite your sources, have a professional website with clear contact info and About Us page.
Gotcha. So it's about the information and the credibility of the source.
Definitely. What about citations and references? Are those still important? More important than ever, actually.
Right.
When you cite authoritative sources, it shows the AI that you've done your research. And there's even some data suggesting that citations can improve visibility in AI results.
Interesting. So how should we be using citations?
When you state a fact or statistics, cite a reputable source. Aim for a few solid citations per article. Integrate them naturally into the text.
Don't overdo it, though, right?
Exactly. A handful of good ones is enough.
What about including quotes from other experts?
That's another great way to boost your credibility. When you quote someone, it shows you're engaging with a wider conversation.
Any tips for using quotes effectively?
Make sure they're relevant, to attribute them clearly, including the person's title or credentials, and use them to support your points, not to replace your own explanations.
Okay, so use expert voices strategically.
Exactly. What about using data and statistics? AI loves data.
Really?
Oh yeah, numbers and facts are like catnip for AI, especially for factual or comparison questions.
So how should we use data in our content?
Sprinkle in key stats throughout, cite your sources, and the year the data was collected. Use lists and tables to present multiple data points clearly.
Always with units and timeframes.
Of course, and if you have unique data that's well-sourced, that can give you a real edge.
But always double-check accuracy, right?
Accuracy is crucial.
All right, so data is good when it's done right. What about the overall tone and style of our writing? Does that matter to AI?
It does. AI tends to prefer clear, neutral, and accurate writing.
So straightforward language, No jargon.
Well, define any jargon you do use. Keep the tone objective and informative. Avoid being overly promotional or sensational.
And what about opinions?
If you express an opinion, label it clearly and attribute it. And pay attention to grammar, spelling, punctuation, all that good stuff.
Right, errors make you look less credible.
Exactly. And whatever you do, don't try to keyword stuff or write gibberish for the AI.
So, write for humans first.
Exactly. If it reads poorly to a human, it'll probably read poorly to the AI too.
Okay, so good writing is still good writing. Now let's talk about traditional SEO. Does that still matter in this new AI world?
It's more important than ever.
Really?
All those core SEO principles are still the foundation.
So, keyword research, meta descriptions, backlinks, all that.
Yep. You need that solid base for the AI to even find and understand your content.
And your site needs to be technically sound to write.
Absolutely crawlable, mobile-friendly, fast loading speed, all that good stuff.
Got it. So the SEO basics are still essential. What other SEO tactics are particularly important for AI?
Internal linking and content depth.
So building a well-connected website that covers a topic thoroughly.
Exactly. A strong internal linking structure helps the AI understand the relationships between your content, and linking out to authoritative external sources is good too.
Makes sense. What about understanding user intent?
That's crucial. AI often rephrases or broadens user queries, so you need to optimize for the underlying need, not just the specific keywords.
So think about the different ways people might ask about a topic.
Exactly, and make sure your content addresses those different angles.
Okay, what about keeping our content up to date?
Freshness is still a factor, especially for topics where information changes quickly.
So update your content regularly.
And clearly indicate when it was last reviewed or updated.
Good point.
Yeah.
What about measuring our GEO efforts? Are there tools for that?
That's one of the big challenges right now.
So we don't really know how well it's working.
It's tricky to measure directly, but things are evolving. Google's Search Console is starting to show some data on how content appears in generative search.
But keep an eye on that.
Definitely. And there are some third-party tools popping up that might offer more specific tracking.
And we can always look at what our competitors are doing.
That's always a good idea. See what's working for them.
Okay, so it's a bit of a waiting game, but we should be looking for any signals we can get.
Exactly. And the industry is working on developing better metrics.
Good to know. Finally, what role does our brand and reputation play in all of this?
Brand building and PR are actually super important for AI, even if it's indirect.
How so?
If your brand is well-known and respected, AI is more likely to trust your content.
So brand mentions positive reviews being featured on authoritative sites.
Exactly. AI is getting really good at recognizing those signals.
Makes sense. So a strong brand is a big plus.
It definitely helps.
Okay, we've covered a ton today. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Just remember to focus on creating high-quality, authoritative content that's well-structured and easy for AI to understand. Keep your content updated, cite your sources, and stick to those SEO fundamentals.
Great advice. And as AI search becomes more common, think about how our idea of ranking might change.
It's not just about being number one anymore. It's about being the cited authority.
Interesting thought. What new metrics and approaches might we need to understand our impact in this new world?
It's a question worth exploring.
It is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for having me.